Hey Jake, welcome back to another episode of By Its Cover.
Hey Katie, thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it.
No problem, it's my pleasure.
Yes, absolute pleasure.
Hey, what is By Its Cover?
By Its Cover is a book review podcast where we choose books by their cover.
Read them.
Or consume them.
Read them.
Or consume them.
Read them.
And then we talk about them on this podcast and everyone gets to listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool for them.
It's so cool for them.
And us.
Yeah. It's really an excuse to hang out.
It is.
We love it, and we love
it.
to post the episodes and record them, and we have such a great time.
We do.
Yeah.
We got a comment on our Everything My Mother Taught Me episode.
Did we?
Yeah.
Cool.
Do you want to hear it?
Yes.
Okay. Let me pull it up here. Now, listeners, if you didn't listen to the Everything My Mother Taught Me episode,
It was the best episode ever. You should go listen to it.
The best, without a doubt.
Yep.
Definitely better than Quietly Hostile or Fairy Tale or
any of the other free episodes that you listen to without being a Patreon member. So make sure that you go to patreon.com/hosts of By Its Cover or By Its Cover, I don't know URL, and sign up for the $5 tier.
We're pros.
Pros.
Yeah, so it was an amazing episode, and at some point in there we wanted to know, listener, what your mother taught you, right?
Yes.
That is what we did?
Yes.
Okay. Well, we got an email.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who it's from.
I don't know who it's from either.
Okay. My mother taught me, if you cannot dazzle them with brilliance, you baffle them with bullshit. True story. I got a kick out of this email.
Yeah, I mean, that's quality advice for politicians, lawyers, doctors, and naturopaths.
Anybody else?
Mothers. Parents in general.
Parents.
Prostitutes.
What?
Yeah.
How do prostitutes fit into that?
Turn the lights off.
And somehow that equals bullshit?
Yeah. You know, you dim the lights, you put on some other light. You just think about every movie where, like, you know, they show... I've never been to a strip club. Yeah, I've never been to a strip club, but if you go to one in the movies, they're all depicted as dark, right, and everything. Mm-hmm. And so they're... Obviously, every stripper you see on the street is, like, drop-dead model gorgeous. Mm-hmm. No.
That's where you find strippers on the street.
Like, they sort of look rough, right? But if you dim the lights and then you put on other colored lights, then they look great.
Everybody looks better with red light.
According to movies.
Well, thank you, listener, for reaching out and letting us know what your mother taught you. Mm-hmm. I think it's super fun.
Yep. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks for sharing. Well, let's get into the episode.
Let's get into the episode. Today's book is The Pussy Next Door.
Okay, so when you sent me this book, you sent me a picture of the cover, mm-hmm. and you sent it along with a text that says, hey, do you have any double-sided tape? And I was like, what the fuck? It was so funny.
So, listeners, I needed double-sided tape because the film that I was shooting, I needed to pull the film. It went all the way back into the reel. Mm. So I needed to pull the film out of the cartridge. And mm-hmm. the way that you do that is with double-sided tape. Coincidentally, after I needed that tape and was asking Katie if she had any, I texted Katie the picture of a cover of a book that caught my attention.
Yes. All right, can I describe the cover?
Yes.
Okay, let me get it up. I should have done this already. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Google the word pussy. Pussy
Next Door. I bet that's going to be a horrible response. Pornhub. That's the first one that you get. Oh, no.
You have to say book.
I made the mistake of clicking on the images.
No. So if you just go to our text message feed.
I'm going to go book. I got it. No more actual pussies. Okay. The cover says The Pussy Next Door, and the U, instead of being a U, is a cat, of course. There is a woman, it's a guy and a woman who are wrapped up in each other's arms. She's got like one leg up his side or whatever, and he's got one arm kind of like near her rump. And they're gazing into each other's eyes. They're obviously engaged in a very romantic kiss or something. She's wearing like a pink dress. She's got long brown hair that's tied up into a ponytail. She's also wearing some like thigh-high stockings, I think. And on his shoulder is a white and gray cat just chilling there looking. And then in the back behind them, it looks like they're outside of a cafe. And there's another cat in the bushes looking at them from outside the cafe. And there's a little sign that says cafe. And it's hard to tell, but I think it might be an outline of cat ears on the cafe. How's that?
That's good.
Okay.
Yep. And
What the fuck, Jake?
It's cartoon, and it's like it's almost like watercolor or something.
Sure.
Okay. So let me tell you why I picked this. First off, I love the word pussy. Not just because it's something dear to my heart, but because it has two meanings. One is cat, and the other refers to something else.
Right.
This book, yes, it is romance, but it's actually talking about the cat.
Okay.
So, and let me tell you a story about...
How did you pick this book?
Obviously the pussy next door, and I was like...
Yeah, but where were you when you saw this book? I mean, like, you don't really shop smut sections. And...
I don't shop smut sections.
Right.
I actually just picked this up in the library. I was scrolling through, like, available now audiobooks,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
And it was, like, garbage thriller, garbage murder mystery, The Pussy Next Door. And I was like, should I? I don't like romance. I don't like smut. Why would I read this? And then I remembered we have a podcast. And I thought, yes, I should. This obviously caught my attention.
Right.
So let me at least play the sample.
Yeah.
And I played the sample, and I was really surprised.
Okay.
I was surprised. But we'll get there. I want to tell you a story about pussy, actually. So, I lived on a boat for a little while.
Oh, yeah.
And when I moved onto that boat, I had a cat. Mm-hmm. And the cat, I moved the cat in, I moved my stuff in, and the cat went missing. And I was like, holy crap, where's my cat? This is bad. I'm at a marina on a boat. Everything wrong could happen.
Yeah.
Like, she could drown, she could get lost, she could get on someone else's boat, blah, 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 right? Could not find her. So I walked down the dock, and I saw this guy, and I was like, hey, have you seen a cat anywhere? And he said, a what? I said, a cat. He's like a pussy cat? And I said...
What other kind of cat?
And I thought to myself, it's an interesting use of the word pussy. Yes, like a pussy cat. This is Roger, and we're still friends, actually.
Do you have consent to use his name in the podcast?
I don't know, but...
Should I cut it out?
No.
Okay.
It's a fake name. So he lived with us, like, next to us in the marina.
Yeah.
Amazing guy. We would go over to his boat for cocoa and concert. Mm-hmm. So on, like, cold winter nights, we'd go over there, and he'd have snacks and cocoa, and we'd watch, like, Pink Floyd or something on a concert. And it was great. He's an amazing, really nice guy. He's got some interesting beliefs that are just a little bit outlandish, but the root is make as many friends as possible, because when you die, you get to be with your friends forever.
Oh.
Yeah. So, like, really outlandish beliefs, but it's rooted in friendship.
Right.
And that was one of the times that, similar to this book, get outside of your comfort zone, because it may be different than you expect.
Yeah.
So I sort of I sort of read this book because it's got, a cute backstory, going outside of your comfort zone to really discover what something is about. I've never read romance on purpose.
Right.
Fourth Wing, I've read Fourth Wing. I did not realize that it was smut until, like, halfway through. I was very surprised. So that's why I picked up this book.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was this book actually about?
Okay. This book is about a plus-sized woman who finds romance with a pro football athlete. Unexpected. So the first scene of this book there's two readers. There's a male reader and a female reader.
Okay.
The male reader wakes up and finds a cat between his legs.
Oh.
Yeah. And he says, where the heck did this cat come from? Right? And he's sleeping nude. It's a romance novel. So he's sleeping nude and he's looking down at the cat. And the cat goes to stretch and like puts his claws in his leg. Yep. And his leg. And he says, ow. And the cat runs away. And he's like, wait, no, I have to catch this cat because otherwise I don't know where the cat came from.
Right.
So he goes downstairs and his name is Hayes. Hayes goes downstairs and his brother's there and he realizes, oh crap, I'm nude in front of my brother. But they're both pro football players, so they don't really care. Like they're used to showering nude in football things. I don't know, right? Locker rooms.
Locker rooms.
I'm not a sports ball person.
Okay.
So
sports ball.
Yeah. So he finally gets the cat and turns out it's the next door neighbors.
Okay.
Right? And her name is Willa.
Okay.
And they've known each other forever. Like, they went to high school together or whatever. But he comes out of his back door with the cat, and
Is he still naked?
Still naked. But it's sort of like he has a fence and everything, right? So it's not too bad. But he comes out, and Willa looks over the fence and is like, hey, have you seen my cat? Oh my God, you're naked. And he has morning wood.
Of course.
Right. So he thinks, oh, let me just cover myself with this cat. And he's like, I shouldn't.
That's cute.
I should not cover myself with this cat. So he walks up and he gives the cat to Willa, and Willa is blushing.
Right.
And like, thanks for the show. Hee hee hee. Come to the coffee shop later.
Yeah.
So, that's how they started getting together.
Okay.
Is a very cute kind of way, except, cute-ish. In this book sense, it was cute, right? Mm-hmm. Seeing your next door neighbor nude with a hard-on or whatever holding your cat is probably a weird thing to wake up to.
Yeah.
Situationally, everyone already knew each other.
Right.
And so it wasn't terrible. They know he's not a creep or whatever. Or they think he's not a creep. So anyway, he goes to the coffee shop later. Mm-hmm. By the way, this book's universe, there is some plus-size phobia, but not as much as our world.
Okay.
So the author, the sample that I read was the author talking about why she wrote this book. Oh. She says, yes, it's a fluff book. It's not real, right?
Right.
But I want this book to be placed in a universe where fat phobia is significantly less than the world that we live in, where plus-size women can find love too.
Yeah.
Right? And can be depicted in romance novels without scrutiny.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, it's wholesome, right?
It is wholesome.
So I decided to read it or consume it. So back to the story. He goes to the coffee shop. They're flirting, whatever, right? He's a virgin. He's never had a girlfriend.
What?
He's a pro football athlete that has never been interested in women because football is his primary life.
Got it.
Right. And you find out his mom died early. The only way for his dad to keep everyone together was his dad was a coach for a football team. So he has 5 brothers. They all became football people. And he has one sister that became like, I don't know, somebody, I don't know. I think she was what was she? She was a famous like musician or something.
Okay. Hot shots.
She was still in high school. Yeah, she was still in high school. One of the brothers was dating a musician.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the brothers was dating Taylor Swift, basically, like that, like famousness. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, they go on a date. It's super cute. She takes him to pho. He doesn't know what pho is. He calls it pho, right?
Of course.
And he's like slurping up the soup or whatever, and she says something like, "Oh, if you're that excited about soup, what else could you be excited about?" It's kind of corny, smutty stuff. And then he gets so excited he spills the bowl of soup on him, and then she's like, "Well, let me get you home and get you out of those pants," right? So they drive back to the house, and this is all corny. And by the way, I'm listening to this like on a run, and I am laughing. It's hilarious and cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's like the beginning of some bad porno.
Yeah, it's like the beginning of some bad porno. Like, I ordered a pizza, I'm stuck in the washing machine. It's like dumb shit, right?
Wait, have you ever watched a porn video where they were stuck in the washing machine? I
haven't, but it's a whole genre apparently.
What?
Yeah. So
I have regrets.
So she she like mounts him in the car and discovers that he's a virgin. And she's like, oh, wait, we shouldn't do this.
Right.
Because she's actually a traveling teacher. She goes overseas and she teaches kids English and blah, 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 right? Mm-hmm. And she comes back every once in a while on breaks.
Okay.
And she says, don't fall for me because I'm leaving. I'm going to go back overseas to my teaching gig, blah, 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 right?
Yep.
In like 2 weeks, so you can't fall in love with me. And he's like, well, no expectations, just have fun.
Yeah.
Right? She says that, and he's like, yeah, okay. They end up falling in love.
Of course.
Of course. She ends up staying for a little while to run her gay uncle's coffee shop.
Okay.
Where it's very much in the red. And so the story is about how they fall in love, they go on dates, they go on adventures. He helps turn the coffee shop around. Okay. So that it's actually profitable.
Yeah.
By basically turning it into a cat cafe.
Yeah.
Her brother doesn't like Hayes because Hayes got drafted as a junior to the Mustangs, and he left the Dragons. And Xander, who's the brother, Xander is all jealous about it and be like, you abandoned us, right? So Xander is trying to sabotage the relationship.
Okay.
Willa and Xander's mom is also trying to sabotage the relationship because Xander is the golden child, and so there's like that whole drama mixed in, right? Mm-hmm. But through that, they still like make it work, and she's temporarily taking care of the Gunkel's coffee shop.
Okay.
She's still supposed to go back.
Yeah. So
there's always this looming deadline that their relationship is going to end.
Right.
And yeah, there's some smut stuff in here, but the majority of the book, honestly, was wholesome, cute, sort of like the easy falling in love type of story, right? And I just laugh so much because Hayes is a football player, and I think the author does a really good job of portraying Hayes as a football player. He's like, I'm not gonna make my girl work for me, and like does something, right? Oh, she was going to be on top. And he's like, I'm not going to make her work for me. And so he flips to being on top or something, right? Like, just, it's just cute and stupid.
Yeah.
Right? And this is my very first romance book. So I don't know. I assume all romance is exactly like this. And so, let's see, how does it end? So they end up going on so Hayes gets hit really hard on the football team.
Oh, no.
He scores the winning touchdown and gets piled on by a bunch of football people, and he gets a concussion. So he's on concussion leave of absence for a couple of weeks, and she takes him to Japan. With her for 24 hours. Okay. He's got a private jet, by the way.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. So he takes her, they go to Japan. They join the Mile High Club on the way. They go to Japan and to look at cat cafes. Yeah. And Hayes realizes that by staying in Denver, where they are, where their home base is, that Willa is going to lose a big part of herself because Willa likes to travel and go on adventures and stuff. Yeah. So he would, like, how could they make this work? He plays pro football for a team in Denver. Mm-hmm. She's a traveling teacher. They have a budget of $1.5 billion to buy a house.
And somehow these people live right next to each other.
They live right next to each other, yeah. And, the end of the story is about, like, how do they make it work? Yeah. And in the most wholesome way, Willa's brother Xander comes around, and they have, like, the way that they come around is they have to fight it out. So her dad, Willa's dad, buys them inflatable sumo costumes. And they have to, like, literally fight it out.
I did not see that coming.
Yeah. And so they're very cutely, like, she's talking about how Xander's an asshole, and Xander's talking about how she's the one that got to leave Denver, and he's stuck here, and blah. And they're just honest and open with each other, and then they realize that they have common ground, and they can actually be friends. And so, ta-da! And that's important because the way that they solve their relationship of how they're going to be together is they get the whole family together, both sides of the family. They invite them all to the coffee shop. Yeah. And they say, how are we going to make this work? Willa likes to travel, and I'm a pro football player, and that's been my life. Help us figure out how we're going to be in a relationship. So everyone's throwing out ideas and like, looking at compromises.
So cute.
And, yeah, very cute. Like, no family actually gets together. Right. Without just like yelling at each other, obviously, right? So, That's basically like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Anyway, they come up with this idea. Taylor Swift, whose name in the book is Kelsey Best.
Okay.
So Kelsey Best comes up with that idea to hire Willa as a travel scout, to go scout out hotels and places to eat and everything, so that when she shows up in town on tour, she already has everything mapped out for her. Safe, travel, blah, 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 get it all together.
Yeah.
And he stays playing pro football, and on the off season, he goes with Willa to go scout.
Oh.
Yeah, which was cute.
That is cute.
And the whole time, the compromise conversation was ridiculous. He's like, you shouldn't have to compromise anything. And she's like, you shouldn't have to compromise anything. And then, like, eventually they realize that they probably should compromise a little bit, otherwise they're going to have to break up.
Yeah.
And then that's pretty much the end of the book. And there's an epilogue where they're on a Star Trek cruise. And he proposes to her, and they get married.
Cute.
Cute, right?
That's super cute.
That's not what you expected.
Nope.
Which is the entire part of this podcast, right? You get a book by its cover, and then you read it, and it's not what you expected, or it's worse than you expected, or better.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds great.
This was, honestly, I really enjoyed this book. As weird as it is to say that I enjoyed a romance novel, like, this is very rom-com,
right.
style romance, and there's smut in there, so little ears listeners, don't read this unless your parents have talked about birds and bees and stuff, right?
Yeah, there's probably not a lot of little ear listeners to our podcast, so there shouldn't be. But
I think this book would be important for teenage boys to listen to or read, because it's very much the opposite of porn.
Yeah,
like porn is very much like, oh man, right? And then, but this book is more about the relationship and everything around that.
Yeah. Right?
Which, what was it? I think it was a South Park episode, actually, where one of the characters reads, it was Adolescence. Mm-hmm. The Netflix series Adolescence.
I've never heard of that.
It's extremely gross.
Okay.
But anyway, the boy there reads a romance novel, and he's like, I get it. It's not all about sex. It's about stuff. Sometimes it's about implying sex. Sometimes it's about the stuff around sex. And sometimes it's not even about sex, right? And, like, he's a teenage boy. And, I think it'd be cool for teenage boys to
understand that.
To understand that relationships are more than just sex.
Right.
And sex is more than just sex.
Yeah.
Right. So it was cute. It was a, like, really wholesome
That's
read.
So cute.
Yeah.
So you want teenage boys to read this book?
Yeah.
Is there anybody else that you think you'd recommend this book to?
I don't know. I don't know people who read romance. I've never read romance.
Could be your mom.
I don't think my mom would enjoy this book. No. I don't. I mean, sure, go for it. But I don't know. Sure, family, if you're listening, read this book. Tell me your thoughts. I
understand that our listener base right now is our family.
And friends.
And friends.
Yes. So family and friends, go read this smut book and tell me your favorite parts. Email us at hostsofbuyitscover.com.
What was your favorite part of this book?
I think my favorite part of this book was the very corny get to know each other date stuff at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because it was just dumb. In the best way.
Yeah.
She says something flirtatious. He gets nervous and spills his soup. They talk about Star Trek, which they're both in love with, and she kind of tests him on Star Trek, and he knows his stuff, right?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is sickly cute.
Yep, and she makes him try these coffees because he's only ever had black coffee, and she loves sugar, and he eventually loves sugar too, right? Like. Oh, and the cat cafe part was important because that's why it's called The Pussy Next Door.
Yeah.
7 is the name of the cat.
Okay.
7 of 9 lives is the cat's name. Oh. Which is a Star Trek reference. Anyway.
Like Deep Space Nine?
I have no idea.
I don't know. Sorry, Mom.
I don't
I'm sure one of our listeners knows.
Right. Beep, boop, beep. The computer is shaking and let's go hyper warp. So they end up like having a bunch of cats as part of this. They don't own cats, but they foster kittens and stuff. And even that was super adorable because 7, a male cat, became paternal when they brought home a box of kittens.
Oh.
Got inside the box with the kittens and was cleaning them and would snuggle with the kittens. And then when they took the kittens away because they're fostering, he would steal socks and go to the corner and like snuggle with the socks because he wanted like the kittens back.
Oh my goodness.
Right?
And just like at the end of The Grinch, my heart grew 3 sizes too big.
Exactly. That was exactly this book. You know, there was and something I really appreciated about this book. I don't like stress.
Yeah.
And so...
You don't say.
I don't say. I don't like stress. And so when I read these sort of like social stress books, I can't watch Will Ferrell, Steve Carell, like those, Adam Sandler, the sort of social humor is very hard for me to watch. I very much don't like it because I'm an empath, right? So I watch these and I think to myself, I don't want to be in that situation. They should not be in that situation. Don't be in that situation. This is very stressful. So I really appreciated the way that the author sort of...
I love that in the same episode you say you don't care about people, but also that you're an empath.
That was a different episode.
Okay, my bad.
Yeah, that was the future.
Scratch it.
I don't... Because people come with problems. And I don't like stress. and getting to know someone is the most stressful thing. Like even just messaging someone on Craigslist and saying, hey, when can I come look at what you have for sale? And then they don't respond. Are they ghosting me?
Right.
Did they get my message? Is it the right phone number that they gave me? Should I try again? Should I email them? Blah,
Should
blah,
I
blah,
not try again because you're being too pushy?
Maybe they already sold it. No,
they just don't want to tell me.
I hate it. Right?
That's a lot.
So that's why I have very few people that I surround myself with, is because it's just so stressful. Anyway, where was I?
Cat Cafe, 7 of 9, 7 socks.
Yeah, socks.
Kittens and socks.
Yep, nailed it. That's it.
Okay.
I don't remember what it was that I was
so sorry I interrupted you.
It's totally fine. Anyway.
I think I'm going to read this book.
For real?
Yeah. I think you sold it.
Really? This is so cute. Oh, that's what I was going to say, is that the author does a really good job at limiting the amount of stress.
Yeah.
So, Xander is an asshole in the beginning, but they solve it in the most holistic way, and it never really becomes like this huge problem. He's not a stalker, and it never becomes extreme.
Yeah.
Which I really appreciate, because everything nowadays is so damn extreme.
Yeah.
So I appreciated, it had ups and downs, right? But it was more within the natural limits of ups and downs. Not this sort of world that we live in today where everything is extreme up or extreme down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such an interesting take.
Okay.
It's a cool take on it.
Sweet.
Yeah. Can't wait to read it.
Okay, cool.
What's our next book after this?
Well, we've got maybe 20 books that we could read.
Yep.
I have some. I know that I'm reading Dune. So
you know that you are?
I know that I am reading Dune. Yes. And it's a long-ass book. So that one will maybe be the next one.
Okay.
But there's also a couple you're reading. Yep.
I've got some on my list I haven't started yet. One is called Silent Sister. Another is called Girlfriend on Mars. There's another one called Fi, Fi. There's one called Unbecoming a Lady, The Forgotten Sluts and Shrews Who Shaped America.
Oh, is that about the man women?
I have no idea what that's about.
Because, what was that really famous brothel that had...
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It was like an old black and white photos, and they talk about it, and they say that, homosexuality was fine so long as it looked like a girl.
So fucked up. I've also got Gog Magog.
Oh, that's right. You picked up Gog Magog from Fairy Tale.
And Make Your Own Rules and Somebody's Daughter. So there are a bunch of books that you might hear about or not.
Next time on
By Its Cover.
Bye.
Bye.